Hey, it's Spencer from Cartoon Apocalypse, and I have noticed something that scares me greatly. Hey, before I start this video, I just want to say thank you so much to Star vs. Force Evil Guardian for being the newest donator, and I also want to thank Morpher and Adrian for donating as well. It's a big help saying our channel is not monetized yet. Today I will be talking about the original Teen Titans. Not that poorly made satire Teen Titans Go. Fast rant. That show is the worst thing that Cartoon Network has ever made and ever will make. And to think that they could do something like that is actually sickening. It was such a great show. Why do you have to ruin the legacy that was Teen Titans with Teen Titans Go? Like, I don't know if you guys feel me on this, but Teen Titans Go, in my opinion, is awful and will never be anywhere near any of their Cartoon Network shows, ever. But I'm going to put that to the side for now. And we're going to talk about the classic, amazing, one-of-the-kind Teen Titans. Teen Titans was a bit of an older show, kind of a almost anime-ish type of show. Not really, because I was American-made, I believe. This show, as a kid, was the only reason I was ever happy. This show was like me, essentially. But for those who don't and have never seen this show, I highly recommend it, but I'm going to give you a little recap. You have 5 main characters: Robin, Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy. They all have different personalities, including Robin being the team leader who has to make the tough choices despite not wanting to, and even he's young. Robin's young and shouldn't be making the decisions of powerful team that is the Teen Titans. Then you have Starfire, who's an alien who's taking refuge on Earth, who's technically a prisoner and just trying to learn all of our weird traditions. And it's kind of funny to see how she like learns things on the show, and she still kind of talks funny. She doesn't speak with proper English, almost kind of like a caveman. It's really cool. Starfire is one of my favorites. And then you have Raven, is a silent bookworm and has the most power of anyone on the team. She's powerful, but she can't really control her powers as well as she would hope to. Because obviously Robin, who's the team leader, holds great power and just simply because everyone looks up to him as a leader. But Raven has probably the most brutal force out of everyone on the team. Then you have Cyborg, the poor soul who is half human and half robot. Now, personally, he grows to like his new robotic body, but is never the same as Victor Stone. This is actually the same Cyborg that was on the newest DC movie, Justice League. I mean, they're different people, but you see the booyah at the end of the movie that he constantly repeats in the show, which is amazing. I love it so much. He's like the goofy mechanic on the team. He's like he could either be really serious or he could kind of like just slack off, be goofy, chill about, play video games. And then you have the last member of the team, Beast Boy. Beast Boy is pretty much a kid named Garfield who could turn into any animal he desires. That includes prehistoric animals and apparently alien animals, which is quite interesting if I do say so myself, which I have said so myself. And so, if you can imagine, he's a vegetarian. Not as a bad thing, but he's a vegetarian because he doesn't want to eat any of the animals he could turn into. Well, that's more or less a summary of the team and who they are. But why am I talking about this? Well, you've probably already seen the thumbnail, which I'm sure Aiden will make, and it will be super dope and awesome. It's amazing as always. But I want to talk about one of the most powerful villains in Teen Titans. Trigon, aka Raven's father. He has conquered countless planets and countless universes. His magic power is more powerful than all who we have seen in the show except for Raven's, who with the help of her friends could take him down and make him leave the Earth. So really, Trigon is the end-all, almost godly creature that has only been stopped once before by his daughter Raven. This was extremely strange, especially because in these episodes leading up to the fight, we see Raven's original dimension and how it has been conquered, which it was supposed to be impossible for Raven's original dimension to be conquered. And Raven just felt hopeless seeing that the dimension that her mother lived in was gone, including her mother, who, well, is dead. She's gone. So Raven is just super worried about that, and she sees Trigon, someone who shouldn't be able to do something, is now able to do something. She's scared of him. It's almost like an abusive relationship. So I'm sure you could see the power in Trigon, with him being a monster and all. That's why I think Meteora will be a huge problem in the upcoming episodes. If you haven't figured out, I think Trigon is Eclipse's monster husband, which would be greatly devastating for Star and the ships that involve Starco and Marco. Because I want you to understand that if Trigon is this warlord who has conquered countless dimensions and countless planets, and is also the father of one of the newest villains in Starverse's, Meteora, well, she's not new, but we revealed more about her. It could be a major problem, especially if eventually she gets magical powers from her father Trigon. The reason why I think it's based on the way they look. Trigon looks just like the mirror we have of Eclipsa and her monster husband holding the baby Meteora, and then you also have the Glossaric in it. But they look extremely similar, except for the fact that one looks like a younger version and the other one seems like an old man. Trigon in the Teen Titans is old, and the mural or the picture that was made is old, outdated by the time he gets to Earth in the Teen Titans episodes. We see it's like a younger and older Trigon. They both have black stripes, white hair, a type of horn which look different, but you could imagine they would grow and would change within age, kind of like a deer. At first they're kind of nubby and pointy, and then they grow out to be spectacular and almost like a tree branch. They both have 4 eyes and pointed teeth, as well as they're red, and they wear similar arm wear, like jewelry and bracelets and what have you. They're both extremely similar in that aspect. Plus, the actions made in Teen Titans make perfect sense, as he is angry as the love of his life is dead. The love of his life being Eclipsa. Think about it, if you are simply a monster, hashtag monsters aren't monsters anymore, living in Muni and you fall in love, and it's not that weird high school love either, it's like true blossoming love, like that weird high school love, you know, like, I love you, but you really don't actually love the person, you just think you do, you just have nothing better to do with your life, so you're like, yeah, I love you, I guess. That's me. No, not me. It's like true, actual blossoming love. It's like someone actually cares about you and would die for you. And so, or at least she thinks she is dead. Obviously, we find out Eclipse is not dead. She's been frozen in ice, or not ice, but crystal. She's been frozen in crystal, and she's not dead. So you you being this still monster who just lost the love of your life, get a hold of dimensional scissors, and you leave. You leave Muni, and you never want to come back, as the love of your life has died. Even if you're leaving your daughter behind, you also imagine that your daughter has died, because obviously Muni Loveberry was there at her nursery, and there was no daughter to be found. If he went there, he would have died too, most likely. So he left. He left Muni and never returned. And eventually he finds an army to join. He joins an army in which he climbs the army ranks rather quickly, and he becomes in charge almost. All he knows is war. He's becoming a warlord, which is why we see him conquering planets and various different dimensions and doing whatever he wants. Because he's a warlord. All he knows is the anger that he feels because of his lost, dead loved one. Because some people, when they lose someone so close to them, all they could think about is how they're gone and how they're never getting them back. That's Trigon in this situation. Trigon is still angry that the love of his life is gone and will never be seen again. So he joins an army, climbs the ranks, and becomes in charge. He's gaining more power, only rather than it being brutal strength, he's gaining magical powers. And through all of his adventures in the army and becoming warlord that he is, he's finding magical runes. He's becoming magical. And you can actually see the evolution of his magic as we see in Glossaric of Terms. Glossaric of Terms is his full name. has magic. He did the magic gem on Glassrick's forehead. Trigon actually has a few of those on his head as well, which we don't see in the mural, which means he didn't have magical powers back then, or at least he didn't believe in magic, or whatever the case is. But now obviously he does, because we see it in Teen Titans. If they're the same person, like I've been saying, I think they are. So if they're the same person, that means Meteora may be given magical powers by her father, just as Raven did, because Raven was born without magical powers, but it was given to by Trigon. But Raven wasn't on Trigon's team. Raven hated her father, hated Trigon, had no love or passion towards the man at all. But Meteora, on the other hand, has already been known to be fine with being abandoned. She was abandoned as a kid, and all her life, all those however many years she's been alive on her own, being Miss Heinous, she's been fine without a father. But to have one, that's a new figure in her life. She's gonna be on his team. She's gonna use that magical powers to perhaps take over Muni. Which is why we see Mina Loveberry was given magical powers as well to kill or capture Meteora and steer the new warlord Trigon. It connects. It's the timeline starting way back when Eclipsa was just barely queen, has a kid, and then from that, and then she falls in love with someone else. She falls in love with a monster that I will call Trigon. She falls in love with Trigon. They tell her she's a monster, and they imprison her in Crystal. Trigon thinks she's dead. Trigon leaves. And all throughout these years, he's gaining power, magical power, physical strength, and he's capturing planets until he is eventually ready to come back to Muni with his daughter. Perhaps his daughter, maybe not. Maybe he's just wanting it on his own. Maybe he thinks his daughter is dead. Who knows? But he's gaining enough power until eventually he's going to come back to Muni, perhaps capture it. And that's what we don't know. We don't know if he's going to come back to Muni or not. That's like the middle of the timeline. But by the end of the timeline, perhaps... this is where it's difficult. I think the two shows are connected on one consecutive timeline. Beginning with Eclipsa falling in love with him, and ending with the fall of Trigon and Teen Titans. So in between, we have at least 300 years in which Eclipsa was frozen in Crystal. So we really don't know what Trigon's doing with that entire time. He could possibly still be gaining power, or he could be gaining enough power. He goes to Earth, is stopped before he can make it back to Muni. And we know time manipulation is a thing, as we saw in the episode where Marco got his own dimensional scissors. In that dimension, he's about 18 years old. Back on Earth, he's still a 14 or now 15-year-old boy. So we can see that 300 years for Eclipsa was 300 years. But for Trigon, that may have been several thousands of years. So who knows, depending on what dimensions he went to. And if he ever came back to Muni, we don't know. Maybe Trigon will return and we'll see him in his red, furious flesh, and his only hope is to get his life back. Because in Teen Titans, we see him bring someone back from the dead. That shows you his power. He brings back someone who should have been dead. Someone who shouldn't be alive. 100% body completely lost into lava. This man should be dead. This man came back, well, without skin. But he came back and got his life back, technically, by the end of the trilogy. The trilogy of episodes, anyway. He got his life back. He's human once again, and then all you know is the fall of Trigon. We don't know if Trigon is technically dead or what happened, but all we know is Trigon was left to Earth. Earth was saved by the Teen Titans and Raven and her friends, the Teen Titans. So essentially what I'm applying is that these two shows are connected, and the main connecting source is a old picture we have, and there's similarities in the thought process that someone who lost a loved one would go through. The looks, and him going to become a warlord. Obviously, I don't know if this is true. We may never find out. Who knows? Maybe Darren will be like, yeah, you know what? We'll bring him back and we'll call him not Trigon, but Warlord or something. And we'll see him. Or maybe we won't. We really don't know. Maybe we'll find out he's actually dead. We don't know. This is just a theory. This is just something I've concluded. And I think makes sense if you stop to think about it and how similarly looking these two people are. It's a little much. But again, I'm Spencer from Cartoon Apocalypse. Welcome to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends. We also have a super cool Discord, so don't forget to join that. We love talking to you guys. Thank you, and have a nice day.
My hot bod!